Happy Thursday. Happy Friday Eve. Welcome back to the Gregory Wright Show. Tonight, I want to talk about primarily the post-Homan meeting that Eric Adams had, the mayor from New York City, Eric Adams had with Tom Homan, the appointed border czar under the upcoming Trump administration, to shut down the border and conduct the mass deportations that you probably heard on the news. But I also want to get into some mayors that are on Twitter, or X now it's called, that are openly defying Trump and his border czar ahead of time to obstruct or be a nuisance in such a way that Tom Homan gives up. But as you will hear Tom Homan himself say, that you better get out of the way because I have the federal law on my side and I have federal assets and resources on my side to get the job done, whether you want me to or not. Just get out of the way. Now, if he gets into, if they, physically obstruct or do anything that physically prohibits Homan from accomplishing his mission, then he'll enact federal law and statute to go after these rogue, woke city mayors across the United States. And then I also want to get into how Chicagoans are turning against their own city mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, for wanting to raise taxes on citizens of Chicago that live there, want to raise their property taxes to pay for illegal aliens. Ain't that something? All right, here we go. Let's start with Mayor Eric Adams at his post-Homan meeting at Gracie Mansion.
And see you write different stories that distort what I've stated. So I'm not wasting my time. I'm being very clear, and I'm not going to spend hours answering your questions over and over again for you already to have your preconceived notions and your distorted views on what I have articulated. We're going to protect the rights of immigrants in the city that are hardworking, giving back to the city in a real way. We're not going to be a safe haven for those who commit repeated violent crimes against innocent migrants, immigrants, and longstanding New Yorkers. That was my conversation today with the border czar, to figure out how do we go after those individuals who are repeatedly committing crimes in our city. We're going to tell those who are here, who are law-abiding, to continue to utilize the services that are open to the city, the services that they have a right to utilize, educating their children, healthcare, public protection, and the things that we have long been proudful in doing so. But we will not be a safe haven for those who commit violent acts. We don't do it for those who are citizens, and we're not going to do it for those who are undocumented. We made terrible mistakes in the past by preventing to keep our city safe from those who are committed repeated acts of violence, particularly these dangerous gangs that we have witnessed in our city, and we're not going to continue in that direction. I'm going to answer a few questions, and then I am leaving, because it's not going to matter what I respond to anyway. You have your preconceived thoughts already.
All right, well, I'm going to stop it right there because you basically got his statement. Well, let me continue, right? Let me continue.
I have a preconceived thought. I want you to know that right from the start.
Thank you.
Number one here, are we talking about people who are just charged, or does that, convicted, or does that include charged? And how exactly, if you could give us some specifics, would this work?
Our legal team is vetting. Do we have the authorization to sit down and speak with ICE legal team to operationalize what both our desires are? And once we get that approval, then we will give you a complete layout of how it's going to work.
Mayor?
Yes.
Yes, sir. When you told Mr. Homan, I'm willing to work with you to make sure we're not a safe haven for people committing crimes, he pushed back and say, I'm looking to deport beyond that. I'm looking to deport undocumented people simply because they are documented dreamers, for instance, asylum seeking migrants who have not committing crimes. And what, if anything, did you say about deporting those people who have not done any crime?
He told you he pushed back on it?
I'm asking you, did
okay, all right.
you saying I want a broader scope?
From what I heard from the incoming head of ICE is that we have the same desire to go after those who are committing violent acts, repeated violent acts among innocent New Yorkers and among migrants and asylum seekers. That's what I heard from him, and I was pleased to hear that because we share the same desire.
Gotta love these commercials, folks.
But if you're paying more than $30 per month on car insurance,
Sorry about that.
Good. How are you, Greg?
Good. So, in part of this meeting, you were looking at how to address it, kind of meet the new administration a little halfway here, maybe, however you guys are going to meet. Part of that conversation, as you've mentioned, Marsha Kramer's show, was looking at executive orders. So was there any talk about executive orders? And then what would those executive orders entail, and how would they work to kind of address what you had discussed with the orders are today?
I spoke with our my legal team here to look at the powers of my executive orders to accomplish my goals of ridding our streets from those repeated individuals who carry out violent acts of violence towards New Yorkers and towards migrants and asylum seekers. And once we come to a full understanding of that, then we will report on it.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. What did you ask incoming order czar Homan about his plans or his scope for deportation? What questions did you ask him about how far he wants to go with deportations, and what did he tell you?
Well, I think that what has been reported is totally distorted from what our face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball conversation. His goal is the same goal I have. We cannot allow dangerous individuals to commit repeated violent acts of violence in our cities across America. I've said this before, and I'm surprised the way everyone is attempting to state this is a new coming of Eric Adams. I've stated this over and over again, long before this election, that this can't be a safe haven for violent individuals. You have a right, a privilege to live in this country, and those who want to commit acts of violence, they are violating that privilege.
Sir, that you're a law.
We gotta keep it tight. Yolanda, go ahead.
Living in the shelter.
Thank you so much.
Señor alcalde, buenas tardes. Did Mr. Homan make any specific request from the city in order to work with you in this crisis?
His desire is clearly, again, what my target area is, and what I've learned also from sitting down with him and a representative from the Biden administration that was there in the meeting as well. We have 500,000 children who had sponsors in this country that we can't find. We can't find them. We don't know if they're doing child labor. We don't know if they're doing sex crimes. We don't know if they're being exploited. 500,000 children. There's a level of hypocrisy that everyone that states they want to protect everyone but innocent individuals who are victims of crimes and children. I want to support and protect children and innocent people that are victims of crime. And those who don't understand that, it's not up to me to try to convince them. I know what my job is, my goal is, and I was clear of that while running and when I became mayor. Safety means everything to me. 500,000 children, we don't know where they are right now in this country.
Will New York remain a sanctuary city, and will you do anything to repeal any of the work that the de Blasio administration did to limit interactions with ICE and other immigration officials?
New York remaining a sanctuary city is determined by the city council. They told you what their position is. I'm going to try to attempt to use my executive orders to go after dangerous people who are committing violence acts against migrants and asylum seekers and long-term New Yorkers and undocumented immigrants. No one should be a victim of a crime in the city, and particularly violent crimes. And I said that over and over again. I'm going to continue to stand by that.
Marsha?
Mr. Mayor,
preparation the NYPD will be giving to federal officials.
All right, well, I'm going to stop it right there. We're already about 10 minutes in, and I got some other stuff to get into. Basically, Mayor Adams, New York City mayor, said it over and over again during this press conference that his main area of focus, and the main area of focus for Tom Homan is the same, and that is focusing on the criminal illegal aliens that have more than one offense, attacking U.S. citizens, robbing, stealing, doing whatever it is that made them a second-time criminal, because they came here across the U.S. southern border illegally. That's a crime. And then while they were here illegally, they committed additional crimes. So those are the individuals that Tom Homan and Eric Adams are going to be targeting this first go round. One of the things that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the shoot was that there's levels to this. So the way I see it is you have 1.4 million illegal aliens with deportation orders already. That's low-hanging fruit that Tom Homan can zoom in on, and he'll work with city mayors across the country to round them up and deport them. The next group are the illegal aliens that committed crimes, but separate from the group that already has deportation orders. And again, Tom Homan is going to have to work with city mayors across the country to deport them. Then you have the illegal aliens that, to the tune of 15 million that came across the U.S. southern border over the past 3.5 years under the Biden-Harris administration, that haven't committed a crime but are not in the process of gaining citizenship or whatever. They're single military age men who aren't working, and they have to find those guys and round them up, because they have the potential to cause harm. They're here illegally anyway. They're undocumented. And then you have the other group that are called the Dreamers. The Dreamers are folks who came here illegally, but they're now on a path to citizenship because they took advantage of the multiple programs across the country and these cities that provided that service to them, a path to citizenship. They've had kids, they have jobs, they pay taxes, they contribute to the community and things like that. I think that's what Mayor Adams is really trying to protect, the Dreamers, the ones that are contributing to society in a positive way. And I think that, the 3 or 4 phases that I mentioned, the closer you get to the Dreamers, the more difficult it's going to be for President Trump and his administration to deport those individuals, because they're, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, so to speak, because they have their path to citizenship. It's just not finalized yet, right? They have to go to hearings, or they have to go to court, or wherever they go to get that kind of stuff finalized. So Tom Homan is going to have a very sophisticated plan as each phase comes closer to the Dreamers. All right. So we are going to move on. We are going to move on to mayors that are against deportation, period. They just don't want Tom Homan and his federal crew to come anywhere near their woke ass towns, right? But I got news for you. There's federal laws against impeding federal processes that deport illegal immigrants, right? So we are going to get rolling here. We'll start with this one.
We've got lawyers in all 50 states, and we will be joining forces with other civil rights organizations and with governors and mayors who are in American communities and want to stand with us against this right-wing extremism. Number two, you've already heard Governor Maura Healey of Massachusetts, Governor Gavin Newsom of California. You're going to see again, just as we saw during the first Trump administration, governors and mayors around the country who are going to say, we are not going to stand for this federal government attack on our communities. And we're already working with those state and local officials to build a firewall around communities, not just immigrants, but dissidents, protesters, people who Trump has already announced he's going to go after.
All right, so hey, smash the like button if you're enjoying this content so far.
Got lawyers in all
right, let me shut you up. Okay, so now she's fear mongering, right? President, again, those 3 or 4 phases, maybe a 5th phase when we're talking about what Tom Homan is focusing on. I'm not going to repeat myself. You could rewind this video and hear what I said seconds ago. President Trump and his administration is not going for legal residents of the United States. And and again, if he is attempting to enter into the dreamer phase, then the Trump administration has to have a very sophisticated plan to pursue that option, if it's pursuable. Because there are laws, being that they're on a path to citizenship, maybe some things have changed. I'm not an expert in this stuff. I'm just, did a lot of reading on it and formed an opinion on it through critical thinking, just brainstorming real quick. He is not talking about rounding up protesters. He's not talking about, if you are a legal United States citizen, you are not subject to mass deportation whatsoever. This is for illegal aliens who already have deportation orders, who committed crimes other than crossing the U.S. southern border illegally, and a great portion of the 15 million illegal aliens that crossed the U.S. southern border over the last 3.5 years. All right, let's go to another one. Here's a Tucson, Arizona mayor.
Dear Tucsonans, as your mayor, I want to reassure every single resident that I am committed to do all we can to keep our community safe. I am deeply troubled by President-elect Trump's plans for mass deportation. I believe they are cruel and immoral. I will work with our police chief to make sure that our focus remains on protecting and serving Tucsonans. Here in Tucson, we know how to stand up and fight against hate and racist laws. Part of our history is coming together with our faith leaders and other organizations to protect children and families from separation. I am unwavering in my commitment to this fight. While we do not have specific details about how mass deportations will be carried out by President-elect Trump's administration, we do know that it will be painful to children, families, and our immigrant communities. We do not have the...
So what about the 500,000 missing children, right? In New York since this thing has started. What about the 320,000 children that went missing under the Biden-Harris administration. No telling what they're doing, right? Talk about those children. Talk about the families that have been separated by illegal aliens killing Lake and Raleigh, or other law-abiding citizens of the United States killed by illegal aliens. What about separation of those families? It has nothing to do with racism. It has a lot to do with breaking the law. You come to this country illegally, you broke the daggone law. I don't care what color you are. Let's move on from this idiot. I don't feel like hearing her anymore. And plus, I'm pressed for time, right? All right, let's see what Boston Mayor Michelle Wu says. Maybe I got another one of her. Let's see. We can do this. All right. Let's see what she has to say.
If these mass deportations take place.
Yeah, look, elections have consequences, and the federal government is responsible for a certain set of actions, and cities, no individual city can reverse or override some parts of that. But what we can do is make sure that we are doing our part to protect our residents in every possible way, that we are not cooperating with those efforts that actually threaten the safety of everyone by causing widespread fear and having large-scale economic impact.
All right, so Michelle Wu, the Boston mayor, the mayor of Boston, is the same mayor that there's a small town right outside of Boston that they commandeered a rec center that blacks and Hispanics used to go to and play pool, ping pong, video games to get off the streets. They commandeered that place, shut it down, kicked the kids that used to go there across town, and used that building as a migrant shelter for illegal aliens. So again, the same thing I said about the Tucson, Arizona mayor, it goes for her. You either, help Tom Homan or get out of the way. Let me pull up another one. Let's see. All right. Here's what Tom Homan has to say.
Read Title 8, United States Code 1324 III. It is a felony. First of all, so those people
got to bring that back.
Stop us from what they're doing. They will not. I'm going to do this job. Men and women of ICE are going to do this job. You're not going to stop us. But let me give you a word of advice. If you impede us, there's going to be consequences. You cannot help us. But also read Title 8, United States Code 1324 III. It is a felony to harbor and conceal, knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien. So read that statute and don't cross that line. But look, President Trump has made it clear. Coming around the gate is public safety threats and national security threats. And we have plenty of them to find. Under the Biden administration, the removal of criminal aliens has decreased 74%. So we got a target-rich environment. So we're going to prioritize those public safety threats. And for any governor or mayor who doesn't want public safety threats taken out of their communities, you should resign your office.
Exactly.
Your responsibility is to protect those communities. We have ways of finding people. I'm not going to explain it.
Governor and mayor's responsibility is to protect its legal citizens against public safety threats. And I would say a good portion of illegals around the country that live in these heavily populated cities are posing a public safety threat on legal citizens that pay taxes there. All right, let's go to another one. And then I'll wrap it up here for you. Smash the like button if you like the content so far. right, I'm running into some slowness here. Please bear with me. I apologize. I apologize. All right. Let's do this. Hope you can hear this.
You so strong about protecting those aliens, but you won't do nothing for the U.S. citizens.
You are going down in history as the worst mayor in America.
Our mayor is embarrassing us, y'all, around the world. And you all took the power back from him to say the city of Chicago is out of the business of funding illegals. We are out of the business of prioritizing non-American citizens on top of the American citizens who go out in this cold weather every day to make money to pay their taxes.
Pay their taxes.
Chicago residents righteously and justifiably.
All right, so there you heard that. Chicago residents at a town hall meeting blasting Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago about the fact that he's trying to pass a budget that's going to raise the taxes on Chicago homeowners to pay for illegal aliens. And also Brandon Johnson is doubling down on the fact that he is going to impede, stop, block Tom Homan, President Trump, from mass deportation. And again, the 3 or 4 or 5 phases I just mentioned throughout this video. And so I'll just close with this. If you were a mayor like Mayor Adams, God bless you. I mean, you're not all the way on board, but at least you're kind of sort of on board. You're willing to meet in the middle somewhere and negotiate and stuff like that. At least in the first phase, Adams is okay. But all the other ones, besides Adams that I played, they want zero skin in the game when it comes to mass deportations. And they may, depending on their actions, if they cross that line, like Tom Homan said, they may be in violation of federal law. And that federal law can be found right here. It will be placed in the description below this video. So if you want to peruse through the law yourself, it's there. Mr. Homan did not pull it out of thin air. All right, you see it right here, 8 U.S. Code, subsection 1324, and then, you know, all the subsections are here. You can peruse through it yourself. Hey, please share this video if you know a mayor or a governor who is stubborn enough to, or dumb enough to cross that line and violate federal law. It could, depending on what you do and depending on the severity of it, you could be spending 5 or more years in prison. Okay? So smash the like button if you enjoyed this content. Please share, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.